Hi everybody, well, welcome back to Diamond again. This is Diamond Highlights, okay? You were on the demand, so in case you want to see this at a later date,
Very good.
Michael Oliveira is the guy in charge of the machine tool section of Diamond.
We're actually just changing our name. The state frameworks are being changed, and we're no longer going to be machine tool. We're going to be advanced manufacturing technology. The frameworks are in revision right now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, myself and Kurt Schwanad represented Diamond as part of the contingency throughout Massachusetts of machine tool programs to change the name and redo the frameworks because there's such a demand for advanced manufacturing that we're shifting our focus a little bit, excuse me, to more advanced manufacturing.
Well, everything, when you think about it, how much service does this shop or Diamond, throughout Diamond, do for the community?
Well, we do a few things. We're not necessarily as, involved as some of the other shops because they have a direct input like the carpentry shops, and maybe the auto mechanics. I know they do some service.
But you consult with each other to be able
Yes, and we make parts for them all the time.
Yeah.
But our big thing is we have a great cooperative education program, and the demand for machine tool people are absolutely through the roof at this point in time. Sure. The average age of a machinist in the state of Massachusetts is 58. I just found that out the other day.
So there's a future.
So there's a tremendous demand because there was always, everybody had this concept or this notion that, and it did happen in the 80s, that a lot of manufacturing went overseas. But advanced manufacturing, the high-tech manufacturing, and you're still going to get a lot of stuff from China and Japan and India, but the real advanced, like knee replacements, a lot of medical stuff, Department of Defense, that's all manufactured here. And what's happening is there's such a gap because people didn't get involved in the machine tool trade because they said, oh, there's no future in it. Well, now it's through the roof. It's absolutely through the roof. We have more jobs than we have students, co-op jobs.
Michael, Diamond has, especially in this, just talking about this, it's not important exactly that you make something for the service for the community. What I was driving at is that you're available to the community.
Oh, absolutely.
And it saves them money that they don't have to spend because of Diamond.
Absolutely. We've done a lot of stuff with the water department, for example, but we're not as involved as some of the other programs that are building new buildings or refurbishing a building for one of the communities. But we're actually absolutely involved. Whenever anybody from any department comes in, it's something that we can manufacture for them, we'll absolutely do it for them.
How many teachers besides you are in
there? There are actually 5 instructors. There are 4 on the floor, 1 for each grade level, and there's we have our dedicated related instructor. And our related classroom is right part of our program in our shop, which makes it really nice because we have that easy flow. We don't have to go throughout the building to find our classes right there.
Right there. The other thing is, how many students do you get on average?
Well, we have about 100 students total in our program.
Can you bring them all at the same time?
No, that's all 4 years. That's, because again, we work on the 2-week cycle. So we have roughly 50 approximately per cycle. And we're broken up into 4 levels, and all the classroom stuff is done in the related room on the academic side. This particular room that you're sitting in was donated by Lowe's, the home improvement store, through a grant, along with the school, built this particular classroom. We were able to teach the students about programming and these HOS controls and teaching them the latest and greatest stuff they're going to see when they get out in industry. Go ahead.
I'm going to say, wouldn't it be great if every shop had a sponsor like Lowe's?
Absolutely.
And then you would do is you would cut down on the expenses because in order to make it very proficient, you're going to not be worried about what it would cost, but how much you would get out of it with the night of money. I've always felt as if number one is there should be with a trade school is applying. This one has a great record, as you know, throughout the state. It has. What was good for you was having Kennedy, and I'm a Democrat, but I'm not pushing Kennedy. I just coming here at least to the school and focusing on it, which is important because that leads to the people in the business who need to be aware of Diamond. It's all about awareness, and that happens to also involve, it's a co-ed institution, so it involves, there's nobody left out as long as that happens. And Baker, I wanted to, as a former senator, I wanted to get to Baker about Diamond in particular after we do all the shows, because I believe that they don't have, you need to get grants to go with every shop.
Right.
This way here, you get a certain amount of money that the state puts up, then sort of relieves the burden a little bit somewhat to the taxpayer because you're going to hit the same taxpayer twice.
Correct.
Because of deer fee already being done and successful. So this way here, you have some of those things out.
Well, ironically, the school just received just under $500,000 in a skills capital grant for the 17-18 school year, and the machine tool program was the recipient of $300 and something thousand of that particular grant, and we've been able to purchase quite a few new pieces of equipment, which obviously is a tremendous asset to the students because now they have the latest and greatest state-of-the-art equipment, and it didn't cost our particular, didn't cost the school.
You got to get away. You got to try to get as much of that as you can to get away from what the capital cost would be or the relief that you would get.
Sure.
And the fact the governor's been here a couple of times already. He already is very favorable to Diman.
Yes, he is. The governor's very favorable to Diman.
And he's very, very favorable to Diman. He's very favorable to tradesmen at this particular point as well. And there is a view.
Actually, he's the governor is spearheading the whole advanced manufacturing.
Right.
Because he realized there's such a need for it, and we want to keep those companies here in Massachusetts.
Both teacher and student leave the confines of Diman. They go out into these different surveys and get reviews, and you're winning everything. I mean, think about it, Michael.
Diman's on a roll, as I like to say. We're doing really well.
All right, we want to thank you. We're going to go to the kids. And,
that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. Our special guest is Richard Souza, who is a junior here at Diman Regional High School. We couldn't believe that when Michael was telling us, the teacher was telling us that the average age is 58 years old, who's in the shops at this point. There's a wide open area there. Young people like yourself can get into that business, machine tool. Tell us about what you do.
So what we do here is at this school, we basically, in this particular shop, we provide education in producing parts made of metal that can be used for all different types of applications. So it's basically anything from car parts to your toothbrush to just anything that you can basically imagine. So it's as years have gone by, there's been production of machines that can do more complex angles, more complex shapes that are able to basically optimize the effectiveness of the parts that we make for their application. So we start freshmen off, they do very basic machining with a lathe, and they use a milling machine very minimally, but only to drill holes and that sort of thing. And it progresses until we start using computer controls, such as in our Accurite milling machines that we have out in the junior area. Now we've moved down to the sophomore area. So basically we start getting more of an introduction to conversational machining. So this type of programming, you're basically getting prompted. You tell the machine that you want to make an arc or a line, and it tells you and asks you where you want to put it. But then what I'm doing in this room, we're actually doing the manual coding. What it does on a conversation machine, it takes that information that you put into it and converts it into the code that the machine reads to make the motions with the motors. So what I do in here is right now I'm programming a CNC lathe. So we have CNC lathes, CNC mills, and then there's a combination of the two. We might have a CNC lathe with live tooling, which is where you can do milling operations on the lathe.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing a CNC lathe where I'm programming. So you can program automatic tool changes. It's on a manual machine, you would have to manually change your tools. But what it does, it has a turret that turns. So when you tell it to change tools,
You're talking to it.
Yeah.
You're actually talking to it.
Yeah, so you're basically just writing out all the code, and when it runs the program, it just does it all by itself. There's no human intervention needed at that point, other than to measure it and take it out and replace the stock to make another part.
Richard, what was saying earlier with Mr. Oliveira, we talked about co-op. In other words, may not be doing. I brought up the service how Diman Regional helps the communities, not just one, in different areas. It could be two, but not really. This is more of a co-op. In other words, there's a tiger waiting at the edge for you guys to graduate so they can pick you up for the co-op program, because it's such a big void from 58 down, to the opening to there. Well, thank you. I wish you well. I'm sure you'll do. I'm sure you'll do quite well. I'm sure you'll be in that co-op program next year. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, if you want to come over here, we can show you a couple of students. Matter of fact, this is Raymond Raymond's one of our seniors, our outstanding senior from class of 2018, and he's getting ready for a Skills USA state competition. That's nothing at the CNC Miller. So we have 5 students in Diman going up to the state conference to compete in at Skills USA States, and Ray's Ray was a state champion last year as a junior and went to Louisville, Kentucky. Competed at the national contest and actually finished 7th in the country as a junior. So this year we're rooting for a medal.
Ray.
We've been very successful. We won 10 national medals in this program. Most schools only one. We win one, it's a big deal. We've won 10 national medals, which is really quite an accomplishment.
How many schools compete in this?
In Massachusetts? Every vocational school in Massachusetts competes at the state level.
From that they go where?
Only the gold medal winners compete at nationals, and you have kids from just about every state, Puerto Rico, District of U.S. Virgin Islands. There's probably, Ray, what would you say, was it 40 states competed last year at nationals?
Yeah, at least 40.
At least 40 states say their gold medal winners compete at nationals.
Ray, well, tell me, how is it feeling for you competing like that? Your second year, you feel like a winner, you look like a winner. Huh?
Well, the bugs are gone. The nervousness should be gone this year because he experienced that last year, you know?
Yeah,
It's real.
I feel a little bit more confident going into this year. Absolutely.
With Mr. Oliveira, was that look at the age, 58, and look at the opening between your age and 58.
Oh, Ray will write his own ticket. The company he works for, he's part of the cooperative education program that we have, and the company that he works for is a company called F.H. Peterson in Stoughton, Mass. They absolutely love Ray. They would like us to clone him and send him a bunch more.
Well, you are.
So Ray's future in machine tool, if he stays in it, is limitless. He'll go and he'll do great things because.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Ray? Congratulations on it.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your work.
Thank you.
Fine. You take a lot of these people with you. You know, they'll see the school and the connection. You're a big deal. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Gentlemen, what are we doing here? Say hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
What are we doing here?
Well, here we're working on just a CNC project for our curriculum, and basically learning how to internally cut a part and cut a thread on the inside of a part. So I'm just checking to see if my thread is correct using this
Machine, the service technician is coming in on Wednesday. This is one of the machines we purchased with that skills grant money that I was telling you about. So it's a brand new Haas. The gentleman, the service technician will be here tomorrow to set it all up for us. Also, it's another machine we just purchased with that skills grant. It's actually a state-of-the-art machine. It has live tooling. We're probably one of the only schools in Massachusetts that has a CNC lathe that has live tooling.
You guys look for this stuff. I mean, you know what you'd like to get, then you get a sponsor.
Well, in this,
Can you
yes,
tell
we
me
know what happened. Our advisory board said, if you're looking, because we were looking to replace an older machine that we had, and they said, we would really suggest that you look into something with live tooling. So through the recommendation of our advisory board, which is very important, we went after this particular machine. We just know that it's an excellent quality machine, and the company that sells it is very good to Diman Regional. They partnered with us in purchasing this. They gave us a great discount, and their service is fantastic. That's why we stay with them.
Yep.
These are all our students that have won state and national medals, and there's our run of medals. We have John and Elijah, right here, John and Elijah, and they are also going to be competing as part of Diman's team at the Skills USA competition in 2 weeks in Marlborough. So right now they're practicing the techniques that they need, so when the competition hits, we're going to do well. That's our goal. So come home with medals.
What's your name?
Hello, I'm John. I'm Elijah.
We wish you a lot of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. To get there.
They had to win at the district conference. They had to finish first or second at the district conference, and there are 8 or 9 schools that compete at the districts. So they actually finished first and second, and they'll be moving on to the state conference. So we're pretty excited for both of them. and John's a junior, and Elijah is a sophomore. So that's really exciting.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. Because the first year is get the jitterbugs out, the nervousness out, and let's go for it.
You represent a great school.
Hi, how you doing?
Nice to
Another
meet
Mike.
Yes, nice to meet
Nice
you.
to
Mr. Valeri's been here since 1994.
94, yes.
And he runs a program right on the side of mine. Mr. Valerio will be taking over as department head when I retire.
We're gonna miss him.
Well, I
I don't blame
imagine
him.
you would, yeah.
And we were able, several years ago, to purchase wire EDM, which is really, again, state-of-the-art. We're one of the few schools in Massachusetts that has a wire EDM. And Mr. Valerio could actually give you some information on it.
Well, unfortunately, we just ran out of wire. It takes about 5 months for a spool of wire to last, and of course today was the day that we ran out. So we're in the process of redoing a wire. But this takes this small little wire here that you can see. It's only 10 thousandths in diameter. Basically, three of the hairs put together is about 10 thousandths, and it sends powered electricity through it. And when the electricity comes in contact with the metal, it burns it away. And you're able to do very sophisticated, precise parts. I have some samples here of what it can do. We make a bunch of these. Students like them, and people that come and visit. You're welcome to have it. Are you a Patriots fan? I don't know.
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
Giants fan? What
Well, no,
are you?
I'm a Patriot.
Okay, you're
I got
welcome
this.
to have
Thank
that.
you.
But
Thank you, guys.
you can get closer. Well, a lot of different projects you can do. You know, we got kids that wanted to do a flywheel with flames. Very precise. So this is able to get in very sharp corners where otherwise tools that we use rotate.
Yep.
So that you're gonna have some
They
kind of
can't get a
diameter.
corner.
Right. Well, this will get like 5 thousandths, which is basically like a thickness of your hair to get a sharp corner.
Don't you see? Well, I mean, you do see. I mean, when you look at, you need a new school first of all because you need more space. One, and you definitely need to get what you're doing, which is co-oping with businesses
Yes,
to make this
definitely.
equipment, because then the students can eventually go along with it.
Absolutely.
Because they'll learn from that type of equipment. So it's an ongoing process of hiring, training,
Yes.
vocational education.
There's so much to learn in this trade. It's been phenomenal. This particular machine we purchased, I think it was 10 years ago, and it's given students opportunities to get jobs because of it. Just here locally too. A&A, Precision Machine, H&S Tool has the exact same model. So
It's not like it's strange,
no.
like it's obsolete.
These are two sophomores that are currently in our program.
For him.
Oh, Matthew.
Matthew.
Oh, Evan.
They have last names? I'm not sure.
Yes, Matthew is on.
It's okay, you got it.
What's your last?
Evan Throw.
Bro.
Yeah, nice to meet you both.
Uh,
What year are you in?
We're a sophomore.
Sophomore.
10th grade.
Sophomore?
Sophomore.
Yes.
They'll be
So-
geniuses by the time they get
Yeah,
to be seniors.
we got to move along. With juniors are getting ready to go on co-op, so I'm kind of prepping them for next year. This is mostly a junior area. We're just starting to get sophomores now introduced. The ones that excel in the sophomore area. We got a great support from the administration for the program and the other
Definitely.
programs in the school. They try to give the best equipment for the kids to
Well, the
work on.
best thing you did was to get Tommy Orban to be the
Yes.
superintendent because he's been inside the walls.
Right.
He knows exactly what you need or what you can do, you know what I mean? And so it's easier. If you have to go through, this is not a social worker program.
No.
This is a program where you go out in the arts and you compete in a trade, you make money, you take care of your family, you grow up with the great
right.
pride that he has,
Right.
Mr. Oliveira has.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it makes it worthwhile to come in there and teach these kids when you get good
Ah.
stuff to work on. We have this optical comparator,
Yeah.
which uses light to measure a part. So you can see this part that's being measured, and it blows up the size of the hole. Obviously, it's like a half-inch hole, but when you look up there, it looks like it's 3 inches.
Yeah.
And this little sensor here, it's a fiber optic sensor, will register. Go ahead, go off the hole. You hear that noise?
Yeah.
It's picking up that point where it went into light. And she's able to measure the hole by taking a variety of points, as many points as you want. You need at least 3 points for a circle. And see that noise?
Yeah.
It just measured that hole. So when she go to that circle 28, Kayla, on the screen, it'll
Yeah.
give you the actual size. It's just over a half of an inch. Oh, what happened? Yeah. Gives us the diameter of the hole, the X and Y location of the hole, So it's modern technology, you know.
It's like being in Star Wars here.
Yeah.
What's your name, may I ask?
Kayla?
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And you're happy? You look, I got a smile on your face. Yeah. What we need is a new school. A new school, a lot of room, and more opportunities for students to go into the business world and be very successful. Okay?
She doesn't have safety glasses on. She's maybe embarrassed. She wants to show off her pretty eyes, maybe. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But Mr. Levin's going to see this video and seeing that you don't have your safety glasses. But this is a safe environment. It's an inspection room. Typically, an inspector probably wouldn't need to wear like his glasses.
We believe you.
But we still like to enforce wearing those safety glasses. So please get her with wearing the safety glasses.
We'll get you with the safety glasses in your smile.
This room was built with donations from Cadence. That's the color scheme is actually that company. They're in Cranston, Rhode Island. I believe they gave us $5,000. Helped purchase this CMM machine, which is another state-of-the-art equipment that we're just starting to learn, and it uses a probe to measure the part. So we're working the kinks out of this. This room is just starting to get organized with the cabinets we just got. So, and then now Kayla's only been here 3 days? 3 days working on this, and she's doing a phenomenal job.
Now, are you a freshman, Taylor?
No.
I'm a junior.
Junior?
Junior, yeah.
Okay, you'll be in co-op next year, Taylor.
She's actually got an interview tomorrow.
Well, there you go. And
For Johnson & Johnson, so I'm not quite sure if they're going to hire her. If it was up to me, I would say yes.
I'm sure, yes, they are.
But I'm not in charge, unfortunately, Kayla, so. But actually, they're interviewing 3 of our students. We had the job fair, which I don't know if you...
Well, we just talked about it.
Yeah, that was last week. Kayla did such a great job at the job fair that they wanted to interview her, so.
Well, there you go.
That's a start, right? First impression means a lot.
Mr. Schwinnard?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kurt Schwinnard, he's our sophomore instructor. Soon to be, he'll be taking over my end when I retire. And Bill can introduce you to some of his program, how we operate at this level. And feel free.
Absolutely. So in the sophomore area, we do we take the conventional machining that we learned freshman year, and we step it up a notch to add a new type of machine in, vertical milling. Every year we try to build a class project, which you can see a lot of those projects up here on the rafters. The tank that you were looking at a little while ago, and Wally over there are some of those projects that we've built. And the class project is designed to build a little bit of team spirit, working on a project together. And it also helps with recruitment, with classes and students coming in every year for exploratory, and they see the different kinds of things that we can do. So down here we work on some more conventional work. We start introducing the CNC, conversational programming, both milling and turning, and getting them in preparation for junior year and co-op.
How many students do you have now, 50?
In the sophomore class we have just under 30 students, 15 in one cycle and 13 in the other.
Every class is
Every class is, well, the other class I have is all boys. This class I have one young lady. In the freshman class right now we have 2 young ladies in this cycle and 1 young lady in the other cycle. Typically it's mostly boys. We do have a lot of young ladies that show interest in the trade, but there's still a stigma of manufacturing out in the world that it's dirty and not very environmentally friendly. But it's really, there's stigmas that aren't true.
You got to rebuild America.
We do. And there are a lot of good jobs, and a lot of bigger companies are very interested in hiring young ladies because they have a different way of looking at things than guys do.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times they're right. Some of the other projects that we built are, you've got Bumblebee here. It's a replica of the Transformer from the Transformer movie. So we took a toy, a little plastic toy, and we just scaled off the toy and made it bigger. It's just under 100 pieces, all screwed together. A lot of ingenuity going in there.
You probably find some things out there that fascinate you, and then you take it down a scale and you build it.
Absolutely. That's where the tank came from. Was just something I always wanted to build. A tank with working tracks and all that, and so we got a die-cast model. We dissected it into pieces and built that scale model. Same thing with Wally. Took some pictures from the internet, started figuring out how big we wanted to make Wally, and from there we built our project. Drew up some blueprints and worked along there. Over here we have a little, another little display table of some of the projects that have been built over the years. We have a lot of displays around the shop because one of the disadvantages in the trade is everybody knows what a mechanic is, everybody knows what a carpenter is, everybody knows those kind of trades. But when a machinist is mentioned, they're like, oh, that's interesting. What's that?
That's really a feature of the whole machinist thing. Really,
It really is.
everything is a combination of other things that the machinist has created. They have to build it.
Right.
You create it and build it.
Create it, build it, modify it, make it better.
I think that
Until-
the opportunity for male and female in the student is great in the fact that Michael was talking about 58 years of age or 58 years of age is retirement age or getting out. What an opening. What an opening. Because the trades run the world. Trades run the world. I don't care what country you're from.
And there's so many areas of the world that is touched by a machinist or the manufacturing process. And most people don't even realize how many products there are out there that wouldn't exist today if it was not for the manufacturing and machinists. Everything from shoelaces to diapers and soda cans and everything else in between. And all the machines that make things, all those.
Are you telling us that you did tell us that everything on this table is made by you guys?
Made by our students. There are a few things on this table that are supplied by some of our co-op employers. For example, this part right here was a display product from one of our co-op employers. It's a impeller blade that's cut on a wire EDM. This particular piece right here is a hip joint, part of a hip joint. It's not a complete one, but it's from one of our co-op employers. So there are a few pieces on here displayed from some of our co-op employers, but the vast majority of these parts are made in-house.
I have two Ketonic knees, artificial knees. I have two of them. So
Yeah, very
it's
common
not on the
today.
table, is it? Is there any on the
No, not on the table, not knees, but we do have that hip joint.
Now, this one here is interesting. This is interesting.
That's a piece that we make, and what that actually is a bottle opener.
Really?
It really is a bottle opener. So the shark's teeth, the way they're cut underneath like that,
Yeah.
hook the top of the bottle right there. And so that's another product that's cut out on the wire EDM.
Wow.
This is an example of one of the CNC type machines that we used sophomore year here. It's a ProtoTrack conversational lathe, and we can manufacture, just about any type of cylindrical part out of bar stock. And it's you program the machine line by line, and then the machine actually machines the product from beginning to end once you program it in. So things we do. Moving on down over here in freshman year. Freshman year, we start them off on very basic stuff, blueprint reading, and we start them off on turning, conventional turning, and some very basic milling. And those skills are fostered throughout the freshman year until they get to sophomore year. We have some desktop CNC mills we use during exploratory process to try to gain some interest in the trade. And these are a couple of our young ladies in the freshman class, hard at work. Everything down at this end, though, is all hands-on. There's not a lot of computer-based. Correct. The way the exploratory program is they pretty much see every shop but one now. Yeah. They visit each shop for 3 days mostly. There are a few that are 4-day cycles, but most of them are 3-day cycles. So they're getting an introduction to each program, and then from there they can draw their interests and conclusions. And ours has always been a tough one though, and we're making huge changes this year to make it a little more
trying to keep it coordinated.
interesting. Yeah. One of the biggest issues is safety, because you get a student behind a conventional machine like this, and there's parts turning, levers that they have to move in the right direction. So we're going to move it a little more to the advanced side for exploratory, and give them a taste of CNC down at the other end. So the doors are closed, the machining's happening behind a closed door, and there's no issue with safety. And they'll get a little bit more of an insight into what the trade really looks like once they leave.
Thank you, Kurt.
You're very welcome.